with things like Skeleton, you want to be able to get that ability elixir back. With things like Boss Bandit, it's almost good that they're being punished. So here we go. We're hopping into the game a little bit late, and looks like technically we're still kind of this is the CRL warm-up, ladies and gentlemen, the warm-up. So Juice, bottom of your screen, we're seeing a lot more Golden Knight in the current meta, which makes sense because of his buff. Top of your screen, Elixir Pump to start things off.
Elixir Pump is wild. I have seen this deck or variations of this deck quite a bit. A lot of time we don't see Elixir Pump in Clash Royale League though, and that's, I mean, Ryley's showing why you don't as well. I mean, you have Lightning, he's got the Miner ready for the Elixir Pump. Every time he plays that, it's just going to give an opportunity for Ryley to attack at the bridge like he's doing right now.
And looks like we're all kind of caught up. And Yoru is someone that you and I were discussing also before the event today. You know, it's always great to see new names. It's one of my favorite things about Clash Royale League. Hey, it wasn't too long ago where guys named Ryley, Mohamed Light, Samuel Basoto, names like that were people that you'd never heard of. So it's really cool to see Yoru working his way into the mix. He has gotten #2 on the leaderboard all the way back in December of 2023. He's won a global tournament. That was Sudden Death, which is actually my favorite version of the global tourney. And I love the change to the Golden Knight, Juice. I really enjoy now that his dash is just a little bit more effective, moving farther across the map, moving forward and backward. I actually think it was a really, really great change.
Yeah, Golden Knight's in the mix, Boss Bandit's in the mix, Skeleton King in this mix. I mean, a lot, for the last like 2 or 3 years in CRL, we've seen evolutions kind of push champions out of the meta. Champions are back. I mean, everyone is using different champions, abusing the 3-card cycle, but even their abilities, I mean, they're providing value that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's interesting with that 3-card cycle and then like the heavier lightning spell with decks like this at the bottom of your screen. You know, the Golden Knight, not the tankiest of all the champions, but you get him off on the back of the board and you're able to actually create a lot of pressure, get more lightnings out than you might feel, which is why I actually think we're starting to see more Mother Witches. We've seen so much lightning in the meta lately that Mother Witch has actually been pretty dominant, especially against these decks with like Bats and Goblin Gangs, which we're seeing a lot in these Mortar, Lightning, Boss Bandit decks, even though this is Golden Knight.
Triple Elixir just coming on the last second here, Andrew, allowing Ryley to defend. That push was looking scary. Golden Knight the bridge here, plus the Law, going to clean up the Mother Witch. Other Golden Knight cleaning up the gang. Arrows drop down the Evil Bats, and the Mortar is not the right play. And the Mother Witch prediction on the Bats. Ryley's struggling to defend here.
Yeah, really, really great plays by Yoru. Got nothing there to slow down the battle ramp. Does get a log off in time. 777 to 1159. 29 seconds remaining. Ryley up against the back wall here. And again, that Mother Witch right up at the bridge, really making it, not getting a lot of damage is Yoru, but Ryley does get a mortar shot. That's huge, Juicy. Now within lightning range to take the lead.
Yeah, and the Evil Mortar is on the board. There's 13 seconds left on the clock. The Mortar is just applying a lot of pressure, and the Lightning does drop down, like you said. Yoru does not have a big spell. He has to do something, but he can't. It's over.
You know, it's really interesting. It feels like there was a bit of that experience now.
Great question. I think another big reason why Lightning is really in the meta right now is because of the Poison Tower damage nerf, the Rocket Tower damage nerf that happened fairly recently. And I think that Lightning's just a really good card that does a lot of damage to towers, and it also has a huge radius, so it has a decent amount of versatility compared to the Rocket.
Juicy, I know you were devastated when Rocket got nerfed.
Yeah, it was a dark day. No, Andrew knows that Rocket is one of my, if not my least favorite card in Clash Royale. Speaking of more balance changes, I do think that we could use just like a overall tower damage nerf for maybe spells across the board. I don't know. I think it's just good to always see the pros try to break through with troops and with skill rather than focusing on defense mainly.
So here we go. Breaking through right now is Yoru, bringing that Tower of Ryley's all the way down to 1075 in a very similar look here. Monk is also showing up a lot more. A lot of reasons, you know, I mean, you guys can do the math on why Monk would be everywhere, talking about the meta that we're in, especially paired with Royal Giant. You can see how effective it was there. And yeah, like you said at the top of the show, Juicy, RG is also everywhere. And hey, I mean, this is your job, so I'm just going to keep asking you questions. Why now RG? What is the moment now? It does seem like it's kind of found its perfect meta once again. Seems to be really, really hard to stop. Seems to be always breaking through. A lot of options through double and triple elixir. What's the reason for this moment in Clash Royale?
So there's a couple reasons. I think number one, a lot of the buildings have gotten nerfed over time. We saw an Evo Tesla nerf. We saw just a regular Tesla nerf. We've now seen the Evo cannon and the regular cannon get a nerf recently. Bomb Tower and Inferno Tower don't really provide that much value. Really, buildings, you know, they're not great. And Roll Giant excels in a meta like that. I think another big reason is, I think like 2 or so years ago, when they started adding evolutions, I predicted that Monk would become more and more valuable. The more units, the more evolutions they add that are ranged, the more Monk has potential to deflect Evo units. So, and I do think Roll Giant is the card that synergizes best with Monk.
That is a great breakdown. That is an absolutely great breakdown. Love to hear that. 318 remaining on that bottom right-hand tower. Ryley was able to break through. This is the second time now on that top left-hand side. He's going to get another Evo shot in. Doesn't get the third. 1035, 318. Most likely a fireball in Yoru's last slot there. And no, it's a lightning instead. I was thinking it might be lightning because we hadn't seen it. Comes out, takes the tower, and we are all even, 1-1. Now that experience might go out the window. Yoru with a little bit of momentum behind him.
Yeah, I like what Yoru did there. He knew that Ryley used lightning in the first.
Ryley's experience came in. Game number 2, Yoru just kind of steamrolled him the whole time. So here we go. Game number 3, Ryley starting with a snowball. Snowball can mean balloon. Snowball can mean drill. Drill maybe now that we're seeing Fire Spirit. Evo Snowball plus drill. Really, really great combination. It cycles really quickly, and you can clear everything off the board with that Evo Snowball. So we'll see how Yoru wants to prepare, which looks like he might be going to the skies, Juice.
Yeah, Skelly Drags in bats. That's interesting. Maybe like a Lumberloon, maybe Lava, maybe even a Mortar deck. And Ryley, great call. He is using a Goblin Drill Evo Snowball here. I think it's a great combo, especially since he's used the log already. Evo Snowball does a great job of providing a lot of value with the drill, because a lot of time you can push the defensive units backwards to the back of the tower and allow your Goblin guaranteed damage lock on tower.
Big shout out to our production team and Stats Royale here. Love seeing all the graphics on screen, and it's just nice to be able to talk about what we've already seen being played instead of having to, you know, do what we usually do, hopping back and forth between screens and trying to figure it out there. Obviously, champions out in every single game so far from Ryley. And top of your screen, Juicy, is there a champion in this deck? Is there maybe AQ in that last spot or something? Maybe just a spell, huh?
Yeah, probably going to be a spell. So Yoru not going to be able to compete when it comes to the cycle here. Ryley cycles really quickly, especially with the 3-card cycle from the Mighty Miner. And it looks like Ryley's second Evo is going to be the Cannon Evo here. I think Ryley's got a great matchup for himself.
Yeah.
Yes, Yoru does have the Valk for the drill, but once again, Ryley has the Evo Snowball and cycle. If he tries the Valkyrie, he's going to drop the Snowball on it and push it to the bottom.
And there we go. Exactly what you're talking about. Snowball comes in. Yoru ready with the barb barrels. So, you know, you kind of have to do that this early on in the game. I mean, you have to do it all throughout the game to track those cycles. Those skeleton dragons from Yoru, as you can see, cycling them both on the same side of the map, those are going to be a bit of an X factor here for Yoru. It'd be annoying for Ryley to take care of. Wow. Rocket comes out just on the Evo Mortar, misses the skeleton dragons, but I guess the Mortar was really more of the threatening play. And a pretty decent cleanup there from Ryley. I'd say medium. Juicy, rate that defense.
Yeah, I would give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, he does take out the Evo Mortar, which is definitely the main threat, like you said, but there's a lot of damage coming through. Ryley still has a lot of work to do if he's going to come back and win this. And Yoru is continuing the pressure. He's got the Miner, he's got the Mortar, he's got the Poison. Ryley needs to hit a pre-Evo Snowball on one of these Valkyries in order to make it so that these goblins can hit, just because that Barbarian Barrel is always going to come through if the drill gets low enough on HP.
Yeah, and then obviously Ryley doesn't have much of an option to kind of wait this game out and try to rocket cycle. Minor Poison always frustrating to go up against in that sense, and again, these skeleton dragons being a bit of a nuisance here for Ryley. They're taking a lot of elixir from him, taking a lot of attention from him. That snowball is always going to want to be used on offense, and then on defense, you know, taking care of those skeleton dragons. It's really like an Evo cannon or a fire spirit plus, you know, just kind of sacrificing your guards. So curious to see how Ryley's going to continue to evolve. There we go, fire spirit and sacrificing of the guards. Has to snowball on defense left-hand side. Evo mortar not on the tower yet, but might. There it is.
Wait, it's going to lock on the bomber first? But now it's on the tower. I think the Mighty Miner was out of range. No way. The Mighty Miner's able to distract.
Skeleton dragons are going to get pushed back. One skeleton dragon connects. No, wow. Ryley playing some crazy defense right now, Juice.
He's staying alive. Now we're heading into triple elixir. Will triple elixir save him again? No, both the mortars locked. Yoru is already celebrating. Ryley is already shaking his head. He knows it's over. Double mortar with the poison. And Yoru with a massive upset, taking down our CRL World Final.
See what it's going to be. And here we go. We're in the match. Clown, unfortunately, I don't know where he is now. Traveling throughout the world, but he's not on camera, unfortunately. I think you guys, at least luckily, were able to see him in his first match of the day, and now you recognize it's not because he doesn't want to be on camera, it's because he is in a car.
Interesting. I can't believe that Sosa is playing immediately after just losing. Or sorry, not Sosa, a Clown. Well,
yeah, we had we had the numbers backwards on the board there. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but luckily for me, I'm not playing. So
yeah. Okay, so
here we go. Our first bait of the day, Juicy, and it's from, you know, arguably the best bait player in the world. So that's at least exciting.
Yep, log bait, high pressure. He does have the cannon, and I don't think this deck does have a big spell.
No,
so
not.
It'll be interesting to see if he's able to break through with that spam. Clown gonna need some really good defense to make this work.
Yeah, these decks can be really, really frustrating to play against. Just relentless pressure. And while defensively you might feel that it doesn't stack up, that Dart Goblin is everywhere. And the cycle on this deck, even without a champion, is relentless. So, and you're going to see one of the best players to ever do it with this deck run it. So exciting to see here, especially because, you know, bait was one of the other archetypes we mentioned at the top of the show that we have not seen yet.
Hog inbound, cannon back in cycle. Prince is going to help support as well. I'm assuming Clown's last card is an Earthquake. We'll see if he ever will use that on the offense. Gang going to try and keep the Princess alive. A boss man ability, try and get his Princess Tower involved in the defense as well. Evo Falc played on offense. Usually you'd rather see that play on defense, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it worked out well because now the Boss Bandit is providing even more pressure, taking out almost the entire Gob Gang while the Hog gets a hit. And there you go. Clown going to be taking the damage lead to start this match off. Solid defense here. Once again, though, Ryley does need to find a way to break through. And looks like Clown is even ready for the Princess of the Bridge. Lost it down it as well. I think this is a wild version of Hog Earthquake. I think I kind of like it. I mean, he doesn't have the Firecracker, which is a little weird. But the Evil Witch seems to be able to provide a decent amount of value in this matchup. Mainly just because Ryley doesn't have the big spell. There you go. Witch going to drop on defense right here. Log onto the Goblin Barrel. And he's using his skeletons to try and keep the Evil Witch alive for as long as possible. But I really like the Princess from Ryley. You know, Ryley knows how to play the Princess. He knows how to keep it alive. Playing it very low on his side of the map, or really high from our perspective. Makes so the Log can't take that out. And Evil Barrel, you know, mitigated quite well. He needs to play something on the right side, though. He has to drop a cannon. Boss Bandit costing a lot of elixir here. This might be Ryley's turn to maybe make something happen. Here comes the Dark Gob. It doesn't lock on. Witch is tanking. Goblin Barrel inbound. Log gonna get some nice damage, but here comes the Evil Valk plus Wallbreaker to the right-hand side. Skelly gonna try and kite back. Cannon drop it down, but the double Wallbreaker connection. We'll still have 13 seconds until triple elixir. And Clown desperately needs that right now. Princess does not lock on the tower. Log comes through, but now what about for the barrel? He has skeletons and a cannon, but the Gombro's getting damage, and Ryley's very happy with his damage lead. Clown has only 60 seconds of triple elixir to somehow, some way, make a comeback here. With the boss man, with the evil witch, maybe, just maybe it's possible. But look, Ryley is already setting up his Valkyrie, trying to get the evo in cycle, and then applying pressure when the log is not ready to rumble. Wow, and the goblins are doing so much damage. Clown trying to make an offensive push and take some damage to deal some damage, but it ain't working.
Log out to catch that princess. Earthquake in. Try to break through. Hog will get a hit. Does. And Witch on tower, but...
Wait a second. Oh, but the evil Falcon cycle.
Yeah. Oh, the freeze!
Wait, the hog? 15 seconds left, but the hog doesn't get the second hit. And there's another barrel.
Yep. And that's going to do it. No log and cycle. There's the log late. Gets the front two. Hog goes in. And Ryley able to do it against... I'll say a medium matchup, right? Just having the one log to deal with stuff, not having swarm units to cover the barrels in any other way. Maybe not the best situation for Clown to be in, but still, well played there by Ryley.
Really interesting that stuff. We are hopping to game 2. Ryley versus Clown. Ryley talking away here, trying to figure out, or probably just discussing, maybe even with his coach, about the strategy here. Looks like Clown does have the Bowler. Bowler is going to be a really good card to deal with the Gob Drill in this situation.
Bowler plus Snowball plus Giant, so looking like GY, huh?
Yep. Giant Graveyard and the
What do you think
Miner.
about Giant Graveyard? It was pretty popular for a minute there, maybe like what, a few weeks ago, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but seems pretty quiet now. Viability thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely viable, but it is one of those decks where it's very matchup dependent, and I don't know. I don't mind it from Clown. I think that he's gonna have to make something happen here, and if you gotta let luck be the deciding factor of whether you get a good matchup or not bad. The bad thing for him might be that I'm not in love with this matchup for him, mainly because the Mighty Miner, great counter to the Giants. The only way to counter it would be the Evo Snowball whenever it's in cycle, and the other problem is that Ryley's Evo Snowball can be used to knock back his push to allow his tower to lock on to the Graveyard Skeletons.
Yeah, that's the point I was waiting for you to get to. Is we've seen that a lot over the years of body blocking at the bridge,
right,
where the Evo Snowball has changed that conversation by allowing your opponent to actually get across the bridge and then get it all soaked up in that snowball, and then it makes that graveyard not only easier to clean up, but it also almost makes it wasted elixir for your opponent, and then you deal with the push. Everything's out of sorts. We always talk about timing and sequencing with graveyard decks, and that is a great way to kind of deal with it. So we'll see how that plays as this game goes on. Arrows to catch the Bomber plus Fire Spirit. Goblin does get a stab on the tower. Night Witch has been out of position this entire game, so we'll see when Clown can actually get that Night Witch behind a Giant, but as of right now she's been having to use to clean up drills and soak up Fire Spirits.
Evo Snowball on offense here. He's going to allow the Goblins to connect, but Clown has kind of been waiting for this moment. Now he's going to go with the Graveyard, and he's going to drop his Evo Snowball on top of the Mighty Miner to allow his Giant to tank for a little bit longer. But it seems like Ryley's ready for this. He has the poison for the Graveyard.
Wow.
Maybe Clown can stack him enough units to make this work.
This is a pretty scary push. The bomb does some decent work, but that is a very, very healthy bowler behind. It is on tower. It does not activate King Tower. Ryley misses the spot there. Guards behind getting tanked for. Arrows to come in to help clean it up. While this isn't going to be game over, this is a great offensive send for Clown. 15-52 against 22-26. Ryley right back on offense. Drill goes into the left-hand side.
Bowler is here. It does pick up the Goblin hit. Ryley with the energy drink mid-game, trying to
I was just going to say,
get a little extra, oomph to finish out this match.
And honestly, still one of my favorite evolutions in the game, even though I don't use her a lot. The idea behind it is pretty brilliant, and when you see a great player use it to snipe those units off the middle of the board, really, really impactful as well. So Evo Muskie getting her laurels right now as that Evo Snowball comes in. Bowler up high to clean up, as you talked about throughout this entire matchup, Juicy. Now we get a Miner to switch lanes. Guards right behind. Night Witch going to do a pretty good job with the Snowball there, so nice defense here for Clown. 1760 to 1498. Bomber comes out to meet the Giant plus Night Witch at the bridge.
Fire Spirit cleans up pretty well, and the Graveyard is down. Poison on the Graveyard, guards in the Giant. Night Witch Bats are a little bit of a threat, but Ryley doing a great job of hiding them away to give the tower time to lock on and take them out.
That's right. No bat hits in 1162. Fire Spirit almost sneaks through to tower. 1680 to 1162. Mighty Miner cycled in the back for Ryley towards his weaker tower as another drill comes down. And a pre-poison. That's a great pre-poison. Ryley recognizes that the Night Witch is out of play. The Giant's down the left-hand side. No Graveyard's going to come in. Doesn't have to worry about the Graveyard poison, so he just uses it offensively, and now he should be back to it defensively if he needs it.
Free Evo Snowball hits the Night Witch, allowing the Goblin to lock on the tower. Musketeer to try and prevent. Giant is the threat left-hand side, ignoring the Tesla. Mighty Miner dropping. There's only 10 seconds left. Evo Snowball
that Giant
clears the way for the Giant to get even more damage. And with 5 seconds left, Ryley's shaking his head because he knows his tower's dropping. Clown taking game number 2.
And that's just Ryley kind of losing track of the game. He gets distracted. I mean, this is a great play to kind of maybe give him the edge, but excuse me, not give him the edge, but make it so it wasn't just a horrible matchup.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. And here we are hopping to our, I believe this is our 3rd game, despite the graphic on the right-hand side. And we got Ryley with the Hog Earthquake, or maybe Roll Hog's Earthquake. Clown using the drill this time.
A lot more E-Spirit being used right now, Juicy. Is that just because of kind of how popular Witch is and Bats?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it on the head there. I think that it makes a lot of sense to use Electro Spirit more often, especially if you aren't going to be using the Evo Ice Spirit. All the time, the E-Spirit can also pair well with the Log and even Barbarian Barrel to take stuff out like Firecracker. You know, even help out more versus like Musketeers and other glass cannons.
So the first time we're seeing, oh my gosh, what is her name?
Berserker.
The Berserker.
Yeah.
I was like, where it's escaped me. I actually really liked the idea of the Berserker when she came into the game, and I think that she's still trying to figure out her place in Clash Royale, but definitely a really, really fun, high DPS card that I would love to see used just a little bit more, but I think she's still, like I said, there's still something that needs to be tweaked there. I don't know what it is. But just good job against the Evo Skellies and the E-Spirit, and gets on towers, so you know what? Maybe I spoke too soon. Great stuff there from the Berserker.
Yeah, even Ryley is a little bit confused how these Evo Skeletons cannot clutch up the 1v1 versus her. You know, Clown up a lot of damage here, but Ryley is up a lot of elixir here, so I'm able to make a counter push for sure. There it is. Big hits, big 2 hog hits here. And now Ryley converting that elixir advantage to a damage lead.
So Clown, Ryley both resetting back to 10. Hog's going to come in right now. There's the Tesla up high to not give any EQ value. Plays the Berserker on top of it just to keep the Evo Tesla alive a little bit longer. I don't hate that play, but there we go. I was going to say you have to do something to protect it now, and now that Boss Bandit is just pulling out so much elixir.
Yep. Berserker does a decent job, though.
Yeah.
And even takes to the Hog. But the big annoying thing here, as you guys have probably already realized watching, I mean, this Firecracker has been staying alive for a long time. That's another reason why Log is so much more consistent as a card compared to the Barbarian Barrel. It has a lot further range. Barbarrel has a hard time dealing with these Firecrackers when they're deep onto Ryley's side of the map.
Ryley getting a nice King Tower activation there with the Evo Bomber. E-Spirit to soak up that first Boss Bandit dash. Now we see that Tesla coming out late. Exactly kind of what you had talked about before. Use the drill first to get the Tesla down second. Doesn't really matter, though, as Ryley still gets a hit on through the tower. Berserker's been doing a really good job doing a lot of defensive cleanup here, but you know, now we're getting into spot that's just not quite enough. Now we're getting out-cycled, has to let the Hog get on through because he can't play anything to get shot by that Firecracker. 903, 2265, Ryley pulling away.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to defend. The Boss Bandit, the Hog Rider, especially without the Log. The Earthquake drops from the Tesla. Berserker comes down, but it's not enough to stop this Hog hit. And then the Firecracker immediately. This is what I'm talking about, what I mean.
Yeah.
Where sometimes the Firecracker does more damage than a Hog Rider in these Hog EQ decks. because a lot of the time the Firecracker just is so difficult to stop compared to the Hog.
And don't swing for the fences in another. Just try to make it even keel all the way through. We'll see if that's what the players do, but that's not for a little bit. As of right now, we're going into this matchup. A lot of fun. Adriel going up against Ryley, our current world number 2, who honestly looked like maybe we were going to say goodbye to him early yesterday, but he was able to come back and stay alive. And then on the other side of it, we had a really fun matchup. I mean, these were our first 2 matches of the day, Ryley versus Yoru, and then Ruben versus Adriel. Really, really fun to see Ruben and Adriel match as well. So here we go. Going back to bait. Ryley was the only person that we saw run bait yesterday. He did it in his last match, and his last match in the very first game. And we'll see. I mean, apparently he liked what he had there.
Yeah, another thing is about this match, I saw someone say in the chat today that Ryley took Adriel's spot at the World Finals last year. That's the reason why Adriel didn't quite make it to the top 8 for the World Finals. So this is interesting. I think that Adriel has a lot to prove here in this best of 3.
Yeah, that's a great little bit of history there to add to the drama of this matchup. I mean, definitely 2 guys that are feeling like they're at the top of the world. Ryley definitely has the edge on Adriel in that sense, and Adriel getting a really nice breakthrough here. Boss Bandit's still there to tank. Ice Spirit comes in late. Mighty Miner is able to clean up that Hog. 22-59. Adriel up by 1, but Mighty Miner on the board and a Hog hit in as the Evo barrel comes out. Perfect timing, perfect everything there. You can see both of them with the raise of the eyebrows. Adriel proud of his prediction and his play there, and Ryley going, all right, man, okay, cool, let me get some damage somewhere.
Yeah, I like this matchup a lot for Adriel. He's got a really quick cycle. He even has the Fire Spirit, which is good versus Goblin Barrel. And he's locked in. He's got a nice prediction on the Fake Barrel as well as a log onto the real Goblin Barrel with that Evo. And now Ryley's in a situation where he's going to have to keep spamming. He's going to have to get even more Goblin Barrels on the board to try and cycle back. But he does get some damage into here. But here comes the Hog. Earthquake gonna drop down. Boss Bandit dashing. He goes for a defensive Goblin Barrel. He's struggling. The Boss Bandit connects with the pre-log. And this tower is gone. Ryley's already thinking about what deck he's gonna play next game, realizing this one is over.
Didn't love that barrel right in the middle of all of that, Juicy. You know, he was Ryley was able to get back to a second barrel and kind of use that defensively, but honestly, he sent a barrel in the middle of Adriel's kind of defense and counter push, and that barrel, it only pulled out 2 elixir, and what I was gonna say, but then Adriel just straight up 3-crowned him was, oh, I would have recycled her in the wrong lane. She can really, really punish you, although in game number 1, really worked out for Adriel.
Yeah, she's a double-edged sword. If you know what you're doing with it, it's really going to provide an insane amount of value. But if you make even one mistake in how you play it or an ability here or 2, next thing you know, you've used 8 elixir on 1 card and your opponent's overrunning you.
So those decks you guys are seeing on the screen are not what we saw in game number 1. Those are from the previous matchup. Just a heads up in case you are worried and anyone repeats a card. And don't worry, we're on it.
Gobstein in the back, and looks like Ryley's got the Tesla. Ryley using a drill deck with the Dark Ob without the Evo Dark Ob or the Evo Tesla. So, and without the Evo Drill. So what even are the Evos here? This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting, and I can't imagine he made an Evo mistake, but with only 2 spots left, he's going to have to hope that he didn't. There we go. Evo Valkyrie is the second to last. Goblin Doctor, Goblin Monster coming out. I think I called him the Goblin Giant earlier. Give me a break. It's 7 in the morning. And also, we haven't seen much of the Goblinstein. I'm really happy to see Goblinstein kind of working its way back into the meta, honestly. I know that for a long time, people were sick of it and thought it was a little too powerful. Definitely a really tough card to balance, but I do think it's found itself in a good spot. Goblin Doctor doesn't feel too powerful. Goblin Monster doesn't feel too powerful. Neither does the ability.
Yeah, I think that's... I absolutely agree. I think it's in a solid spot, but still, in certain situations, able to provide some value. In this situation, I don't see it getting much, though. Ryley with the poison, probably going to be dropping a poison on top of the Gobstein most of the time, and if not, he'll have that Valkyrie on top, help him cycle to his Evo Valkyrie. Falcon to drop right now.
So, yep.
Under the drill here.
Evil Bomber showing up a few times throughout the competition, which has been nice. Not super popular in general after its nerf, but I think that was a good nerf, Juicy. I mean, it definitely felt like it was completely hamstrung after it happened, but I don't know. I mean, how many times could you lose a game on an Evo Bomber at the bridge that you couldn't get to?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that he is in a pretty healthy spot right now. It definitely just doesn't seem like it since he was so strong before, but I mean, it's still able to get really nice chip damage, and when we're either playing at the highest level, any sort of damage matters. So it makes sense why we're seeing him come out a couple times here in this drill deck.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you make. You always see that at the highest level. Any lick of damage is incredibly important, and yeah, that bomb coming through for only 2 elixir is the other thing you got to remember. So, all right, here we go. Another push coming in here from Adro. Focus on that right-hand tower. 2204 plus
Evo
the Evo Snowball.
It's the Valk and the guards.
Wow.
But he's able to stop it. He's staying alive. The Goblins do get one more hit, and the Gobstein Scientist as well. Adriel now up about 300 damage here, despite not having a big spell.
Yeah, Adriel just keeping up some really great pressure, and you know, this deck, this iteration of this deck is, you know, kind of what we saw Pedro run as well, and I don't know, pretty cool. Seems like it's working out all right.
Yeah, Adriel's liking it as well.
We didn't see it all yesterday. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think, yeah, you're absolutely right. We haven't seen it at all, and it doesn't even look like a good deck, honestly, but it's working, and that's all that matters. Speaking of working, these guards are working. Get some damage for Ryley on the right side, and all of a sudden, we're kind of evened up. We have about 53 seconds in triple elixir overtime. Arrows on the Dark Gob, and Ryley completely switching lanes.
Here we go, Poison on top of the hut. Hut right in front of the tower to catch the guards, plus the drill. Now the Evo Snowball comes in. Goblins from the hut, though, should come out and help. 1353, still a decent amount of damage in there for Adriel. Down to 1330 against 405. Ryley back on offense. Evo Valk, the great equalizer, comes in. Fire Spirit on top, but those Goblins are going to get on top of the tower. Fire Spirit mistimed.
And once again, this is the importance of having a log or bar barrel in your deck. If the opponent goes for the Evo Snowball and you don't have something to take out those Goblins, and once again, look, the Goblins are in the tower. Ryley with a Snowball on offense, but the Bomber's helping out. Goblins still get hits. This is shot for shot. Everyone is going in for the damage in the last second. The Dark Goblin walks on the tower, and Ryley takes game number 2, tying up the best of 3.
We do CRL. Top 1,000 players get invited to what then gets you to the end of the month in our CRL monthly finals. So I hope that made sense. But the best way to do it, subscribe to the channel, follow on Twitch, follow along on Twitter or X to make sure that you see when these competitions happen. And then, hey, we could be calling your matches here, just like how I've never called a Tourist or a Yoru match before this weekend. Been doing this for a very, very long time. That could be you this year.
All right, we're hopping to the game number 3 here. This is an elimination match, so someone's going to be walking home away with $500. I mean, it's not nothing, but I know the ambition these players have. They want that champion prize. And the Ram Rider ignores the Goblin Hunt once again. This pathing, the recent pathing update, I'm glad I'm seeing it not only affect me, but also the best players in the game.
Yeah. That's a really good point that you make, because I definitely have found moments where, I mean, and Ryley's not completely out of this game, but he is in a bad spot. But I've definitely found that happen quite a few times. Great King Tower activation there. Still cost him a little bit. Where the new pathing has just completely done me dirty.
Okay, Monk in the back from Adriel. We have a Skeleton Surround last second from Ryley. Really well played. That's going to be 0 hits with the help of the King activation. And you're right, it did cost a lot for him to make the activation happen, but it's an investment. It's going to help him out for the rest of the game now. But now he has to deal with this expensive push. We have the Monk, Ram Rider, and once again, Ram Rider getting pushed to the side by the Monk, making it so that it completely bypasses the Goblin Hut. And Ryley's just shaking his head. He's taking a lot of damage. He's shaking his head here.
He's so tilted, and I can imagine why. I mean, it's 2 back-to-back missed pulls on the exact same push coming across the bridge. A Monk plus a Ram Rider. The Monk, the density of the Monk, body blocking, pushing that Ram Rider maybe a half tile over. And, yeah, with that new pathing, that is not going to do it. So Ryley going to have to get a little more used to playing that Goblin Hut, just one tile over to the right. And, you know, it's going to pull the Ram Rider, and it's also going to spawn Goblins to help out in that case instead of doing a whole lot of nothing.
Monk counter pushing left-hand lane. Adriel does have Lightning as his last card in this deck, or he should. So that's also going to make this even more difficult to make this comeback happen. Goblin goes on the left-hand lane again. It is placed one tile up, and the Ram Rider isn't getting pushed by anything this time, so it will pull. Augrator does get some hits. Ryley's starting to lock in here and maybe get some damage back. Maybe there's a comeback possible here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, he's doing a great job getting damage where he needs. He's, you know, as we've talked about for years, he's sacrificing that left-hand tower HP and gaining elixir for that. He's also making really great micro interactions using that king tower like you talked about to make up for elixir. So
wow,
it's definitely not over, especially with that lightning. And now you see Adriel kind of hitting the panic button a bit, going, okay, wow, all right, you've got a big spell. You got that boss bandit that's causing me a lot of trouble, and I'm only in the lead because you missed 2 pulls on my Ram Rider. So Adriel's starting to feel the pressure here. Great Skellies plus Ice Spirit, 1068, 829. Ryley felt like he was completely out of this. Now the splash from the Firecracker is in. Ryley has just about taken the lead. Not yet. 918, 829. Hog Rider in.
Augrator in, Ram Rider to try and slow it down. Ice Spear to freeze. The King Tower is helping, but the Hog does get the hit. Ryley now... Wait! The Boss Bandit re-dashes back to the tower, and Ryley is lightning range. Will Adriel build a lightning block? No, he has nothing to make it happen. Ryley is going to make the craziest comeback we've seen today.
No way, dude. No freaking way. That is just...
time that a lot, like, these players have put in to this tournament. I mean, there's group 1, or to say 1, stage 2, and now the finals. So I'm sure a lot of the players are wanting to take as much cash as they can home here. I mean, and they deserve it. They've put in a lot of work. They've put in a lot of practice, and I'm very impressed with the gameplay that we've seen today.
Yeah, and you also know, like, with the world that we're working in Clash Royale now, those analysts and those coaches, you want the best ones, and the best ones want to work with the best players. So that also helps your run down the line. So now we see that deck once again here from Yoru. Lightning comes in from Ryley, which is going to be really nice for him. Ends up cleaning up that Goblin Hut, gets some good damage in, but now a decent counter push to deal with. Bar Barrel comes out, 5 elixir in the back. Guard's going to be there, so Ryley running into a pretty nice matchup as of right now.
Yeah, it seems like he might have gotten the matchup he was hoping for. Maybe a little bit of some good work from his analyst here. But yeah, we have the Ghost for the Goblin Drill. There's the Barbarian Barrel for the Goblin Drill. And of course the Guards for the Goblin Drill as well. The other thing is, Yor doesn't have a big spell in this deck. Yeah, there's just no Lightning for this Executioner. This Executioner is really going to block this lane and provide a lot of value. Speaking of value, this Boss Bandit getting in some work here as well. It does go down, but it forced out so much elixir. Here comes the Ram Rider. Maybe the Evo Bomber can clutch up, but the Snowball from Ryley, a quick reaction time, going to take off the board immediately before it's able to take out the Exe. And wow, I mean, Yoru down to 538 HP already. That's just 2 lightnings away from Ryley winning this game with only 50 seconds left on the clock. At this point, I don't know how he's going to win, but if he is, this is how you have to do it. You have to switch lanes. You have to just hope that the Evo Snowball can carry you to victory. But that's why the Bar Barrel's in the deck once again. I've talked about it so many times today, guys. But the Barbarian Barrel, the Log, versus Goblin Drill plus Evo Snowball is just so important. Because once the Evo Snowball comes through to knock units backwards, you need the Barbarian Barrel to clean the rest up. And wow, Yoru just seemingly extremely tilted here. He's not giving up to the very final second, but both of his towers now under 100 HP. Ryley taking both of them down, and he's feeling happy about this game. Game number 2 going to be coming up right as soon as we can here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a victory from Ryley. You're down, you're in the lower bracket, your back's up against the wall, you're going up against Ryley. You know, can you put it together? And this is usually where the rookies kind of start to run into a little bit of trouble, is on day 2, if they even make it there.
In down, Earthquake gonna counter, but the Valkyrie here, Yoru, finding himself a much better matchup than the previous game. We have yet to see what win condition he's going to use here, but it could be a miner, it could be a hog, and there's the miner. I'm sure we will see a poison to pair with that as well.
Yeah, looking like just a good old-fashioned miner poison control here, and fortunate there for Ryley, or excuse me, for Yoru. Ryley dropping those skellies right on top of the miner as he populates, getting tanked for by the Valk, so the miner takes out the skellies, gets a few extra hits on that tower. Just a small lead, 2807, lowest tower for Ryley here, and 28 and some change, 2849 for Yoru.
Queen does not take the Little Prince. Really nice ability there, stalling the Little Prince from walking forward, so the Queen was out of range, and also protecting Little Prince at the same time. This just forces down a Valkyrie and a log onto the Queen here as well.
So that was actually a really nice defense, but it ends up putting them both just directly even, so it just ends up being a bit of a wash.
Right. And the miner comes in from Yoru once again, trying to extend the damage lead. Roll hogs from Ryley.
And Rocket comes out, so miner rocket control. I'm going to do you guys in chat a favor right now. If you type badge and then your player ID, nothing is going to happen. So just a heads up.
Ice Spirit here, trying to get more value than the YouTube chat right now, but the Gob Cage is going to drop down. And looking at the matchup here, I'm actually really happy with Yoru's matchup, but we've seen the Rocket really kind of fail so far in the CRL warm-up. Let's see if Yoru can give it some justice here, have some good defense, and really get those rocket cycles down whenever the Evo Cannon or when the Evo Valkyrie cycle. That's usually when you want to drop them down.
Juice, that was one of your greatest of all time. You've been doing this long enough now, son. You've got it. You've got the bits. You've got the banter. Chat lost it on that one. I lost it on that one. Absolutely brilliant. I'm proud of you. So
wow, that actually means a lot, for real though. It means a lot. Shout out to Andrew. I learned everything I got from Andrew and Rich, boys. Shout out to them.
Matchup definitely good. Just like you were talking about, though, that Rocket, very interesting yesterday, and this time Ryley gets a perfect catch on the miner with the Skellies plus the Ice Spirit. Queen getting a decent bit of value, and will get tanked for by that one hog that sneaks in just in time, but as of right now, Ryley just trying to figure out any way to get damage on the board.
So from Ryley's perspective here, I'm just trying to think what he needs to do to win this. I think the biggest thing is you need to abuse your Archer Queen 3-card cycle in the opposite lane, which is what he's doing here. For two reasons. You have to try to get as many hogs and earthquakes on the tower as possible, but if you can ever force out a rock on the Archer Queen, it's kind of a win for him as well, since that is part of the main win condition from Yoru here.
Yeah, Ryley doing a very good job of catching those miners. It's not something you can do 100% of the time. That Evo Cannon got to be super frustrating for him to deal with as well. Just makes cleaning up these pigs so cheap. Every three defenses that come down, which allows for a rocket to come through. I mean, that's why I've never been good at playing Rocket Cycle, is like my defenses, I usually spend just 1 or 2 elixir more than I need to, and then if I try to sneak in a rocket, then I'm just really hurting, and that's why it's such a high skill cap deck. Even though I know you hate it, you do have to play it pretty dang perfectly.
Yeah, I do hate it, but I definitely agree, especially on a stage like this. It's not easy to play. You have to have perfect defense, and one mistake can really cost you here. Roll hogs do come through, maybe a slight mistake there, but he is up enough damage from some solid defenses so far. He should be chilling. I also do want to know Ryley's composure here. He knows he's up one game. He's trying his best to win this one, but he knows if he does lose, that he is going to have a nice chance in game 3 as well.
1036, 1670, 20 seconds remaining. Little Prince on the board. Ability does not come out. Little Prince just connects straight up, and that should do it here in game number 2. And a really nice matchup there for Yoru, and exactly what you're talking about. We've said this many times over the years, and there's only been a few players really that this has not been true, and that's that poison control or very, very cheap. He loses it, and then he goes out and starts his second set with bait. And yesterday we were thinking, is that just to like build the confidence? Is that because he wanted to really shock his opponent? And is that because all the speculation that we could have? Wow, here we go. Mother Witch runs right into some spear goblins and some bats. Looks like Ryley is going to go to. It looked like he was going to go mortar. He still could. We did see a mortar plus Valk deck yesterday, even though Golden Knight was more popular. Mother Witch, very interesting. We saw Mother Witch come out against a mortar bait deck yesterday as well, but I can't remember exactly who it was, but they did a very, very good job of making sure to not give witch value throughout that entire game, and they played the deck a little bit differently than you normally would. So
wow.
We'll see how this shakes down. Juicy, what do you think we're seeing at the top of our screen here? What is this?
I believe it's some sort of a minor poison or maybe a minor fireball. Just spam, kind of just spam pressure deck. The problem is that he's going up against a Mega Knight, a Mother Witch, an Electro Spirit, a Zap, and a Barbarian Barrel. So these Gobba, these Wall Breakers, these Bats, these Spear Gobs are going to be providing Ryley a lot of trouble here. The Mother Witch is going to be getting a lot of value, spawning a lot of pigs here.
And this is really interesting, Juicy, because I think that we see Yoru doing exactly what you talked about. He's running a deck that counters bait, and also some of the bait decks we saw Ryley run yesterday had no building in it. So now you're seeing a tower-seeking unit like the Ram Rider that also can clean up bait units. You're seeing a Mega Knight that can clean up everything at the bridge if it does come across. And then, like you said, the Zap, the E-Spirit, the Bar Barrel, the Mother Witch. Looks like Ryley found himself in another tough spot here matchup-wise.
Yeah, Bats dropping down. Valkyrie Evo up high. Evo Zap immediately taking out the Evo Bats. Evo Valk can cycle, and Ryley's somehow staying in this game despite all of the different counters here. And he's applying dual lane pressure now, but the double wall breaker connection, Ryley winning this game by over 800 HP now.
And this did not feel like a very educated push. Maybe it ends up working out because of the Mother Witch needs to protect her. Does not. Ram Rider does get through. Piggy right behind, and never mind. That actually ended up working out. Yoru felt Ryley spend just a little bit too much on that the attack that came right before that, and ends up punishing him right back. I'd just eat those if I was him. Yep.
Eats the wall breakers to continue his elixir lead, and he's gonna make another big push with his boss bandit. Evo Mega Knight, boss bandit. Ryley has the Goblin Hut, but here comes the Mother Witch to the bridge. Poison has to drop onto her, but the Mother Witch does lock on the Valk, so she's not gonna spawn too many logs. And nice job from Ryley cycling all the way back to the Evo Valk immediately to really clutch up this defense.
And just Zaps on that left-hand side will eat one wall breaker because of the Goblin up in front. And
wow, Mother Witch gets taken out by the double Valk. And now the pressure on both lanes is mounting. Spear Gobs get taken out the Bar Barrel and the E-Spirits and cycle. Yoru does maintain the damage lead.
And this is starting to get real dangerous for Yoru, just getting spread really, really thin over and over. Ryley now doing exactly what he has to do in terms of sacrificing tower HP to make sure he gets the huge hit on the left-hand side. That boss bandit, the Mother Witch is behind, and now you see the fist up in the air. Ryley has been eliminated by who? Yoru. Who? I don't know. Yoru.
Wow. The rookie of the year, Yoru. I mean, I'm sure he's played in competitions before, but this is the first time that I've seen him really succeed against